Welcome to YveMay's Poetry Corner.
The Dumas Dynasty. Thomas Alexandre de Dumas David de la Pailletere, also known as Alexandre Dumas, was born on the 25th of March 1762. He was a French general in revolutionary France with Toussaint Louverture. Thomas Alexandre de Dumas stands as one of the highest ranking men of African descent ever to lead a European army. His father being white and his mother black. He was the first person of colour in the French military to become brigadier general, the first to become divisional general, and the first to become general-in-chief of a French army. Dumas and Toussaint Louverture were the two highest ranking officers of sub-Saharan African descent in the Western world until 1975. Wow, now isn't that something? Born in Haiti, he was the son of the Marquis Alexandre Antoine David de la Pailletere, a white French nobleman, and Marie Cécette Dumas, an enslaved woman of African descent. Such a familiar story, isn't that? He was born into slavery because of his mother's status, but his father took him to France in 1776 and had him educated. Slavery had been illegal in metropolitan France since 1315, so any slave would be freed de facto by being in the country. His father helped Thomas Alexandre enter the French military. Dumas played a pivotal role in the French Revolutionary Wars. Entering the military as a private at age 24, Dumas rose by age 31 to command 53,000 troops as the general-in-chief of the French Army of the Alps. Dumas' strategic victory in opening the High Alps passes enabled the French to initiate their second Italian campaign against the Austrian Empire. During the battles in Italy, Austrian troops nicknamed Dumas Black Devil or Diable Noir. My goodness. Dumas served as commander of the French cavalry forces on the expedition to Egypt. This man wasn't joking. This was a failed French attempt to conquer Egypt. On the march from Alexandria to Cairo, he clashed verbally with Napoleon Bonaparte, the supreme commander under whom he served. He clearly was not one to be pushed around. Following various battles and clashes in March 1799, Dumas left Egypt on a vessel that was not very good, which was forced to put aground in Naples, Italy, where he was taken prisoner and thrown into a dungeon. He languished there until the spring of 1801. Returning to France after his release, he found himself a wife and had a son, Alexandre Dumas Père, or father in French, who became one of France's most widely read authors of all time. So now we move to Alexandre Dumas Père, father. Born on the 24th of July 1802, he was a French writer. His works has been translated into many languages, and he is one of the most widely read French authors. Wait until you hear what he wrote. Prolific in several genres, Dumas Père began his career by writing plays, which were successfully produced right from the start. He also wrote numerous magazine articles and travel books. His published works totaled 100,000 pages, and his novels have been adapted since the earlier 20th century into nearly 200 films. Amazing. In the 1840s, Dumas founded the Théâtre Historique in Paris. Like his father, as an adult, he used his slave grandmother's surname of Dumas. The mid-1800s was a prolific writing time for Dumas. Between 1844 and 1845, he wrote some of the world's most famous novels of high adventure: The Three Musketeers and The Count of Monte Cristo. Yep, you heard me correctly. Those books were later turned into films and watched by the whole world. Isn't that something? I still can't believe it, and I'm reading it. His father's aristocratic rank helped him acquire work with Louis Philippe, which led to early success. Decades later, after the election of Napoleon Bonaparte, he fell from favour, surprise, surprise, and left France for Belgium. From there, he moved to Russia for a few years before going to Italy. Like so many of his class, although married, Dumas had numerous affairs, resulting in at least 4 illegitimate children. He acknowledged and assisted his son, the third dynasty, Alexandre Dumas, fils, or son. We turn now to Alexandre Dumas, the son. Born in Paris, the illegitimate child of Marie-Laure Catherine Labbé, a dressmaker, and novelist Alexandre Dumas. In 1831, his father legally recognized him and ensured that the young Dumas received the best education possible at the institution of Goubau and the College Bourbon. At that time, the law allowed the elder Dumas to take the child away from his mother. Not sure how I feel about that. Her agony inspired the younger Dumas to write about tragic female characters. In almost all of his writings, he emphasized the moral purpose of literature. In his play, The Illegitimate Son, 1858, he espoused the belief that if a man fathers an illegitimate child, then he has an obligation to legitimize the child and marry the woman. At boarding schools, he was constantly taunted by his classmates because of his family situation. Yeah, in those days, of course, what do we expect? These issues profoundly influenced his thoughts, behavior, and writing. In 1844, Dumas moved to an area near Paris to live with his father. There he met Marie Duplessis, a young courtesan who would be the inspiration for the character Marguerite Gautier in his romantic novel La Dame, aux Camélias, the Lady of the Camellias. Adapted into a play, it was titled Camille in English and became the basis for Verdi's 1853 opera La Traviata. Here we go again, the third generation. Although he admitted that he had done the adaptation because he needed the money, he had great success with the play, which started his career as a dramatist. He was not only more renowned than his father during his lifetime, but also dominated the serious French stage for most of the second half of the 19th century. Sadly, after this, He virtually abandoned writing novels, though his semi-autobiography, L'Affaire Clémenceau, achieved some solid success. Despite Dumas' aristocratic background, here we go, and his personal success, he had to deal with discrimination relating to his mixed race ancestry. In 1843, he wrote a short novel, Georges, that addressed some of the issues of race and the effects of colonialism. He died in December 1870, and 100 years later, in 1970, the Alexandre Dumas Paris metro station was named in his honor. His country home outside of Paris, the Chateau de Monte Cristo, has been restored and is open to the public as a museum. Guys, when I read this, I was like, wow. 3 generations of the Dumas, influencing literally the whole world. The Musketeers, the Count of Monte Cristo, La Traviata, the highest ranking black general to ever be in charge of an army until 1975. Nah, come on. That's the whole world. We are an amazing people, and it's really sad that these facts are not known widely. We're not taught these things. They never come out in anything. We've got to do it for ourselves. We have to acknowledge our own triumphs. We have to celebrate our history and not be afraid to shout it from the rooftops. I hope you enjoyed that. Let me know. Until next time, bye.